Don't let this disaster scenario happen to you. The buyer is locked in, the contract signed, the move is scheduled, and then your sale freezes. Not because of the market, but because you weren't legally ready to close. I'm Alina Rizon, and I've helped San Diego homeowners buy and sell their home for over 20 years. And when it comes to seniors selling a home, the biggest issue usually doesn't come from the market. Often they come from critical legal details that nobody thought to check until your home is already in escrow. Because for a lot of older adults, selling isn't just a real estate decision. It connects to your bigger picture, your estate plan, your taxes, your property title, and sometimes even long-term care planning. And what I've seen over and over is this. Most people focus on staging, repairs, and pricing, but the legal groundwork is often what determines whether the sale feels smooth and predictable or stressful and full of last-minute surprises. This video is not legal advice, so please consult a legal expert to help with your personal situation. But what this video will do is help you understand what many San Diego seniors review before listing, why it matters, and how it can impact timing, cost, and your peace of mind. And if you stick around until the end, I'll share a simple, ready-to-list checklist you can use to tell whether or not you're ready to move forward. Now, the first and most important legal issue is one that many older homeowners take for granted. It's home ownership. One of the biggest areas where senior home sales get delayed is when the home's title, meaning how the home is legally owned, doesn't match what you think. Sometimes the property's in one spouse's name, sometimes it's joint tenancy. Sometimes it's community property, sometimes it's in a living trust, and sometimes the home is still showing the ownership of a spouse who passed years ago. That detail makes a huge difference because title determines who actually has the legal authority to sell the home. Now, if the title isn't clean or the paperwork doesn't match, it doesn't mean you can't sell, but it can change your timeline and create extra steps. This is why many sellers and their agents choose to pull a preliminary title report early. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. This document just clarifies who owns the home, whether there are any easements, liens, or other restrictions, and whether anything else needs to be addressed before you go active on the market. And if your home is in a trust, this is the moment where it's helpful to confirm you have the right documents in place so escrow doesn't stall later. Once you know how the home is titled, the next step is examining your estate plan. A common assumption I hear is this: I have a will, so I'm covered. But in California, having a will does not automatically avoid probate. Probate is the court-supervised legal process used to validate a will, pay debts, and distribute a person's assets after death. It can take many months or even years and often include court fees and attorney costs that reduce the estate's value. And even if you already have a trust, it's still worth confirming that the home was actually transferred into it correctly and that the people involved, like successor trustees, are up to date. If you list a home and something changes unexpectedly during the process, your family's ability to move forward smoothly can depend on how your estate plan is structured. It's all about alignment. Selling your largest asset should work with your estate plan, not accidentally fight against it. For many older adults, this is the point where it makes sense to have a quick conversation with an estate planning attorney. Not to complicate things, but to simplify them. A short review can confirm whether the home is titled correctly, whether a trust is properly funded, and whether the right people are named for key roles. When the documents are clear and current, the whole process tends to go more smoothly. Now let's talk about something that's uniquely important in California and especially relevant for seniors: property taxes. If you have owned your San Diego home for a long time, there's a good chance your property taxes are far lower than what a new buyer would pay today. And under Proposition 19, some homeowners who are 55 and older may be able to transfer their current tax base to a replacement home, as long as they meet certain requirements and timing rules. That can be a major factor in whether downsizing actually saves money month to month, because sometimes the new home's price isn't the biggest shock. The new tax tax bill is. So before listing, it's often helpful to look at your current assessed value, understand the general Prop 19 framework, and then speak with the right professionals to confirm how it applies to you. This is where a tax advisor or the county assessor's resources can be helpful because the details matter and every situation is different. Before we keep going, if this has been helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe. I post weekly videos about San Diego real estate with the goal of giving you clear information so you can make decisions confidently and with as little stress as possible. Now, right alongside property taxes is the other big tax consideration that seniors often underestimate: capital gains. A lot of homeowners know there's a primary residence capital gains exclusion, and that's true for many people. If you meet the homeownership and use requirements, you can typically exclude up to $250,000 of gain if you're single, or up to $500,000 if you are married filing jointly. But in San Diego, appreciation has been significant. For example, a home purchased for $400,000 many years ago and now worth $1.2 million could create an $800,000 gain. So adjustments here are important. Even after the exclusion, a large portion could be still taxable. Depending on when you bought, what you paid, and what capital gain improvements you've made, your gain could be larger than you expected. This can also get more complex if the home was ever a rental, if one spouse has passed away, or if there's an inheritance component. This is why it often makes sense to review the numbers with a tax professional before listing. You'll want a concrete estimate and know how much money you'll be taking away. Now, the final legal category is one that impacts almost every seller in California: disclosures. California has extensive disclosure requirements. The general idea is that sellers disclose non-material facts about the property, anything you're aware of that could possibly affect value and desirability, so buyers can make informed decisions. For people who have lived in a home for decades, the hard part of disclosures usually isn't about being honest. It's a remembering issue from many years ago. A roof repair from a decade ago, a leak that was fixed, an old insurance claim, drainage work, electrical updates. These details can be hard to recall, but disclosures are due. So one of the smartest pre-list steps is simply gathering documentation early, thinking through the home's history, and approaching disclosures carefully and thoughtfully. Try to go through your disclosures early on so you don't feel rushed, and be sure to bring up any questions you may have with your realtor. Some sellers also choose a pre-list inspection as an information tool because it helps you understand what a buyer is likely to discover later. And remember, this is a rule of thumb: when in doubt, disclose. It's better to include something that turns out not to be relevant than to leave something out that results in an angry buyer later. The big picture here is protection. Clear disclosures help reduce misunderstandings and can lower the risk of disputes and even lawsuits after closing. Now let's recap, because once you understand these steps, the process becomes much simpler. For San Diego seniors, the most important legal steps before listing usually comes down to 5 areas: confirming the home is titled, making sure your estate plan is aligned, understanding potential property tax impacts, evaluating any capital gains exposures, and the right professional that can show you your disclosure requirements. All this might feel like a challenge, but I promise it's worth it. Taking a little extra time on these details now can help you avoid huge headaches later. If legal or tax questions come up, I always encourage you to speak with the appropriate licensed professional like an estate planning attorney or CPA, so you can get guidance specific to your situation. And if you're looking for a good tax or legal professional, I can even recommend someone to you. Finally, if you're thinking about selling and you want a personalized review, I offer free consultations where we look at your specific home and your timeline goals. I can provide a home valuation report tailored to your specific neighborhood, micro market, so you can see a realistic pricing range based on current conditions instead of generic online estimates. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm Melina Rizon, and I'll see you at the next video.